Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. We're going to be discussing the breaking news that happened a few hours ago, and maybe I shouldn't say breaking news. The news that the Raiders signed Ian Thomas. If anybody has any questions, comments about that, I already did a video. I broke it all down of ultimately why I think that move was made by Pete Carroll, by John Spytek. If anybody has any other questions regarding that move, you can always use hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get those questions, comments up here, which we will still talk about Ian Thomas, the Raiders signing of a tight end. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about all of the Raiders' top 30 visits so far and give you a little bit of analysis on each of those players. And based on the meetings that the Raiders have set up, what I think that the Raiders are planning on doing after looking at those top 30 visits. And then I had some people asking me last week, Mitch, we focus so much on round one, which I hear you loud and clear. But really, when you go back and look at a lot of the Raiders drafts over the past few years, if there's been a round that you want to forget about, it's round one. Last season was great with Brock Bowers, but this new regime, they've done a great job. John Spytek, Pete Carroll again, have done a really solid job of being able to find talent later on. So today, I'm going to talk about the top 10 players that I want the Raiders to target in round two. At pick 37, I'll tell you what some of the qualifications were for players to get in that. And then I realize we are a little bit behind in some March Madness duck races here on the Raiders Report. So today, we are going to finish up the entire first round of all the duck races here on today's show. So go down to the comments. Let me know what your one-word reaction is to the Raiders going out and signing Ian Thomas. Now, I broke it down earlier on today's show, or I guess on a video that I released earlier today, and my initial thought when I saw this was, all right, what exactly is the connection around Thomas? I like the fact that they did this because I've been sitting up here asking, I want a blocking tight end. I want somebody that can be used in the red zone. And yeah, Thomas wasn't really used in that regard. But what I did not want is for the Raiders to bring in a tight end number 3 that would challenge Michael Mayer. And I am a believer that you got to get as much competition as humanly possible in every position. But I also don't want to discourage Mayer. And I want the Raiders to look at Mayer and go, hey, man, you're the number 2 tight end on this team. And I get being the number 2 kind of sucks when you're behind Brock Bowers, but, we want you to be a part of this organization. And the man that's calling a lot of shots, Tom Brady, literally is the inventor of the best 2 tight end set that we've seen in the NFL. So what do we think here? The one-word reaction is down below. Big Luck says, meh. I see a whatever from Annabeth. Okay from 93. Capio says depth, and it is, man. It's a depth move. Somebody who's got 7 years in the NFL, all with the Carolina Panthers, and has a coaching connection to Pete Carroll's son, Nate Carroll, who those two worked together last season on the Carolina Panthers. Great from Carlo. Bridget, the eye roll. What up, Bridge? Mayor, I'm not going to say that, Jason. Free Fly Jedi, so-so. Depth move from Richard Black. Believe me, I hear y'all loud and clear. Rebel Montana, what's going on, my brother? Hopefully you had an amazing birthday last week. So reminder, y'all, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to get those questions, comments flowing here on the show. Think of the way that we get the questions up here as super chat, like a Disney Fast Pass. You get to skip the line. Hashtag Raiders. Chugs and I will just pull some of the questions that we see, and we'll talk about it here on today's live episode of the Raiders Report. I see Jack Kenna's down below. What up, Yoda Jenkins? What up, Pro Point? Los Oakland, appreciate all of y'all tuning in to today's episode. So I know we got some March Madness games that we got to get to today, and I wanted to be able to roll through looking at all of the brackets in terms of where we are at right now. The last time that we did some March Madness Raiders Report shows or brackets was last Thursday when Chugs and I went live for all those games. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly roll through the Raiders Report March Madness bracket, and then we will start to get into the very first duck races. So in the Las Vegas region, we already see that we have a few people that were able to advance, and then from Roger Braun, Richard Kelly, Patrick Rhodes, Francisco Ramirez, a lot of upsets in the bottom there. I believe today we are still in the Los Angeles region, which we saw Patrick B., Jason Garcia get some wins. Chris Aguilar, Ivan Perez also were able to get dubs. The next race that we are going to do is going to be Finesse Lounge up against Anthony D'Angelo. Then we got LA Crash Dog against Keelan O'Leary. Misty Williamson up against Tony Knutson. Ryan Campbell against K-Rock. I would like to be able to do all 4 of those races before the first segment today. Does that work? Chugs gave me the thumbs up. Awesome. In the Oakland region, every single race that you see here that is not filled out, we will end up doing today. Raider Ron, Robert Serrato, Randall Carter, Johnny B. Good, Rustin Long, Gilbert Moreno, Blaine Craig, Trent Hamada. Those races are going to be after the very first segment that we do. David Vergara, Austin Gomez, Jamari Murney, Rupert Daniel, David Rubio, Buck Kirk, Husker Raider, Justin Salazar, if you heard your name. You're also going to be racing a little bit later on today. And then in the final region, the Brockton region, you got the number 1 seed, LCA, going up against Bridget Rivera, who was throwing some eye rolls earlier here. Joe Maldonado, Adrian Leon, Darth Fatass against Marcus, Anthony Green against Richard Magbull. And then at the very, very end of today's show, Raider Sancho against Raymond Sanchez. Ron Raspberry, are you here, Ron? I hope so. Against Amanda Frazier. Mo Shav against Eric Mitchell. 93 Nabman up against Azar Saw. So those are going to be, and there is a lot, and I get that, a lot of matchups that we're going to get to today. We are going to do 2 Raiders segments. We are going to talk about Ian Thomas if any of those questions do pop up here. But I really wanted to be able to focus on some of those top 30 visits, and I really wanted to focus on some of the players that I would like this regime to target in round 2 of the NFL draft. Bridget, Keith, Carlos, Michael Avila, appreciate all y'all tuning in to today's show. So the very first one that we are going to do today is going to be Finesse Lounge against Anthony D'Angelo, followed by Crash Dog up against Keelan O'Leary, followed by Misty Williamson up against Tony Knutson, followed by Ryan Campbell up against K-Rock. Once we get done with those 4 races, we'll get into the very first segment here on the Raiders Report, which is going to be around the Raiders' top 30 visits. And I'll just give you a little bit of analysis on each of those players and what I think the Raiders are planning on doing. So here we go. Reminder, whoever wins this March Madness bracket from start to finish, you're going home with $1,600 if you are new to the show. So we got Anthony up against Finesse. And early on, this is a neck-and-neck race, man. Anthony, Finesse tied up after the first quarter. Finesse right now might have a little bit of a lead, but it's going to be getting close. Martin Gutierrez says, I'm listening on my way to work. Love it, dude. Love it, dude. At halftime, Finesse had a slight lead, but now Anthony is starting to pull away here a little bit. Is Finesse Lounge going to have enough, or is Anthony going to be able to pull off the upset? Finesse, 5 seconds to go. This is going to be really, really close, but I think Finesse Lounge, enough for the win. Get those finesses down below. Emmanuel Sanchez, Mitch, would you rather an elite offensive line or an elite defensive line? I'll tell you what, it's a great question. How about this? I'll say elite offensive line because I already think we have an elite defensive line. You also got to be able to protect the quarterback. You also got to, it's amazing to me how much better Geno Smith is when he does have a little bit of pocket time. And I broke down the film a few weeks ago when the trade was initially made. I also saw today somebody who I also value their ability to diagnose tape. They released a video that literally was titled, Geno is much better than what you think he is. And I agree with it. When you actually watch tape on Geno Smith, you realize that he's a much better quarterback than what you initially thought. And I was guilty of that as well. When the Raiders first went out and got him, I wasn't nearly as excited as what I am now. And people that watch this show, I think, know that. What up, Nav? Can we hold off on Crash? He's probably not off of work. We will, as soon as Crash Dog shows up and he's like, hey, fam, what did I miss? That's when we'll get Crash Dog. Good luck, Snap. All right, so we're going to do Tony Knutson then up against Misty Williamson. Winner advances to the round of 32. 3, 2, 1. Let's run it. And it's out to an early start. I always feel like I root for the dog that looks like Chuck, which is kind of shitty. But I'll tell you what, between Misty and Tony, these two are OG duck racers. This is a 7-10 race. I mean, this one, not a lot. I mean, right now it's halftime, and Mr. Knutson does have a slight lead, though you can't sleep on Misty. Misty is somebody that you can never sleep on. And watch this. I think she's about to turn on the turbos. Are we going to have a comeback for the ages? Or is she going to run out of gas? Misty Williamson. Oh, man. Mike Rain, then just go somewhere else, man. We're going to get to the Raiders content in a little bit. Don't worry. We will get into the Raiders content here in a little bit. I got you. And I know, like, not everybody that is in these duck races, I totally get it. But at the same time, we're not a normal YouTube channel. And I get that there's some frustration. But at the same time, enjoy a free content. How about that? Free content. What up, Nav? Yoda Jenkins. Congratulations to you. We got one more that I want to do, or what? You want to do two more? Yeah, let's do two more. That way I can save one for LA Crash Dog. Congratulations to Misty. Carlo, I appreciate that, man. Max, I'm glad you guys enjoy the races. Again, these are races of people that watch the show love, and somebody's going to win $1,600. So I think that's pretty damn cool. Ryan Campbell, the 2 seed. K-Rock, 15 seed. This is a big one. K-Rock's been talking a lot this week. Ryan Campbell's also one of the biggest heavy hitters that we have. And if you want me to answer any of the Raiders questions while these races are happening, use hashtag Raiders down below. What are your thoughts on keeping the 6th pick and trading back into the end of the first round or even back into the top 10? I think that's probably would be one of the worst ideas that the Raiders could do. I am team trade back. I don't think that trading back up into the first round is a good investment of your overall draft capital. Dude, this one is right there. First one to make a move is going to win. First one to make a move is going to win. It's going to be Ryan Campbell. It's going to be Ryan Campbell. And, I think K-Rock just waited too long, dude. I think he just waited too long, man. That was a really, really close one. Carlo, Mitch, did you see Hondo? I'll be honest, guys. I don't watch Hondo at all or read anything that he does. The Stephon Diggs stuff has been something that I've talked about before. And I don't fully disagree that he would be an interesting fit with the Raiders. Like, Diggs is a good receiver. He was a liked receiver, actually, in Houston last season. Not so much, years prior to that. But overall, I think the one thing you got to worry about with Diggs is right now the allegation that is against him. And, there's a lot of unknowns around that. But just the way that the Raiders have operated this offseason, they haven't really been a team that has operated in terms of being very risky. They have been a lot more, laid back. They've been hanging out a little bit. And Diggs is an option. But I personally think that somebody along the lines of a Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen are all more likely than Stephon Diggs. Brandon Cooks, yeah, where did he actually end up going? He ended up going to the Saints. As soon as I said Cooks, I'm like, why do I feel like he signed? That was what, Friday? Yeah, okay, I can remember that because, Trace. All right, y'all, so we got the 1 seed Raider Ron up against Roberto Serrato. And then after this, I say we get in to the first segment on today's show. Does that work for you? Chugs gave me the okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Run it. So Raider Ron is in the building. I'm not going to lie, Serrato, I'm not rooting for you. I'm always going to root for the GOATs. Come on, Ron, let's get it going. Ron does have a lead, which makes me nervous, though. I am a little bit nervous about this, Ron. Oh, no. Oh, no, Ron. He might have blew his load, or dude. This is unbelievable. Did we doubt Raider Ron too soon? We did! Raider Ron! A total domination. Let's be honest here. Every single person was like, Ron, you're done, dude. Ron, you're cooked, man. Let's go. We doubted him too early. We doubted him too early. Oh, man, that's awesome, dude. Front row. Sam's, yeah, he's definitely up there, though. We got a lot of betting guys now here at Chat Sports. We will get into some more round 1 duck races coming up here in just a little bit. We will do them after the next segment around the Raiders' top 30 visits so far. Again, this is a Raiders show. Hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get your questions, comments on the show. Raider Ron! Boom! Come on, Ron. Congratulations, big dog. That was a hell of a race, though. That was no doubt one hell of a race. And again, if you want to get your questions up here, Super Chat's the easiest way to do it. I saw Navman said, can we hold off on Crash Dog? We're going to hold off on Gunny. I want him to be able to see the race. Raider Ron, I'm glad you got to see your big-time dub. We'll find out who Ron's racing here in a little bit, but I do want to take a bit of a deep dive into the top 30 visits that the Las Vegas Raiders have so far. Little teaser. Based on the most recent signings, do you think the Raiders target more towards offense or defense in the late rounds of the draft possible? It's a very good question, Mario. I do think that this team is going to go a little bit based on best player available, but I also think that this is going to be a team that really specifically looks for, especially in rounds 5, 6, or 7, because the talent in this year's draft is not as deep as what we've seen in some other years. And if I was the Raiders personally, I would literally take those 3 6th-round picks, that 7th-round pick, and I would figure out a way to move up and try to get as many picks as I possibly can in the top 120. And those later half picks, I think they're going to be looking at, potentially a quarterback. I think they're going to be looking at players that they know love frickin' football and can just help continue to build depth. I think legitimately I can make an argument for them going offense and going defense. I think they're going to stay flexible with what they do, because I could sit up here and say, just like a lot of y'all could sit up here and say, there's still a lot of needs that the Raiders need to be able to fill, right? You are better this offseason because you upgraded that quarterback. You were able to bring back some key pieces. Like, I do honestly think that the Raiders are already a better team. Yeah, I still would like to see more from free agency. Yeah, I want to see what this team ends up doing in the NFL draft. But because I could sit up here and say, we need another linebacker, we need another corner, we need another free safety, we need, I'd like another offensive lineman. I think that we need another wide receiver or two. I know we need another wide receiver or two. We need another running back. Probably think you're going to end up taking a quarterback, right? Like, there's so many different areas that you can go. And the only position that I don't think that they end up taking in the draft now, I don't think they're going to take a defensive tackle. I don't think they're going to take a tight end. I'd be surprised, but then again, I was surprised by the Brock Bowers pick last season. And then edge is a maybe for me. I'd be curious to see if they ended up going with an edge. No doubt about it. Raider Ron says trade back to the 9-12 range. I'd be ecstatic, dude. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, I would love if the Raiders could figure out a way to trade back, because I like players like Armin Membu. I know they like Will Johnson. I know they like Jahdae Barron. And you can get a lot of good players that I think the Raiders might consider taking at 6. But if you could trade back a little bit, get an extra pick or two, I'm on board. What's up? Yeah. Yep. Code draft, Panda Sups. Code Panda Sups. All right, y'all. You guys ready? Top 30 visits so far, and I'll show you how I have the whole thing broken down. Again, these are the players that, to my knowledge, it is officially official that the Raiders are meeting with them for a top 30 visit. I'll break down who they are. I'll break down the position and everything you need to know around all the top 30 visits so far. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And if you're looking for an up-to-date top 30 tracker for the Las Vegas Raiders, you're in the right place. Now, obviously, we don't have all top 30 visits yet, so this is just a so-far version. But I wanted to be able to break down some of the players that the Raiders are going to be meeting with for top 30s and my overall thought process of why the Raiders are meeting with these players. Before I get into all that, though, today's show is sponsored by Panda Sups. Use code DRAFT at 25% off at pandasups.com. If you're looking to get some of the best workout supplements on the market, Panda Sups is owned and operated by a diehard Raiders fan. So I'm going to be going through this top 30 tracker, and I have it broken down by position because right now, as it stands, the Raiders only have 5 positions scheduled for their top 30 visits. They've already had some combine visits. It's also very important to remember that if there is a player, let's say from UNLV or in the Las Vegas area they don't have to count that player towards a top 30 visit. It can just be a local visit. And there's going to be multiple players from UNLV, multiple players from that area that will end up meeting with the Raiders. But if you bleed silver and black and you find yourself looking for draft videos, and if you're looking for tons of live Raiders coverage, I am going to be the channel for you. We are 10,000 subs away from 200,000. And when we hit it, we're blowing the roof off this joint. Let's go to the quarterback position first here for our top 30 visit tracker. And as it stands right now, the silver and black have 3 top 30 visits scheduled with quarterbacks. The very first name, Cam Ward. And this is somebody that I would love for the silver and black to be able to figure out a way to draft. Obviously, I know that it's not going to happen. You probably have to go up to number 1. But if I was the Raiders, I would want to sit down with the kid that's probably going to go number 1. And I would want to sit down and be like, all right, well, what are the Tennessee Titans potentially talking about? I think he's the number 1 quarterback in this year's class. I think he'd be the perfect quarterback with somebody like Chip Kelly. And for that reason, I like this obviously a lot. The problem is I don't think he's going to end up with the silver and black. Let's go to another quarterback visit. Will Howard, who just won a national championship with Chip Kelly. I like his ability to be able to create inside and outside of the pocket. You got to have that ability. When you turn on the final 4 games for Ohio State last season, it's some of the best tape that I've seen a quarterback have. I'm not kidding you. But then you think about how much talent surrounded him, from running backs, from offensive line to wide receivers. Like, when you watch Howard, I really think that Ohio State could have been a lot better if it wasn't for their quarterback play. But Howard, to me, is a QB that you're going to target on day 3 that has a Chip Kelly connection. Another QB that has a top 30 visit schedule for the silver and black is Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers. And tons of arm talent. You cannot deny it. But one of the things that I've said is if you bring in a quarterback like Geno Smith, he's going to be your starter for 2 to 3 years, right? Who's a perfect, and when I say perfect project, I do think Quinn is a perfect project for somebody that, if you all remember, tried to go to Ohio State. And I know Chip Kelly and the ties aren't quite there, but like, he does have Ohio State ties. And if he could figure out his mechanics, I'm telling y'all right now, if he could figure that out, he has got extreme high upside. Tough player, has kind of battled through some injuries. Really good leader. That's something that's been talked about a lot by Steve Sarkisian. Overall, though, dude, Quinn Ewers, he needs at least 2 years to be able to sit down and develop. So here's going to be a question that I'm going to ask, and this is actually going to be the pinned comment on today's show. When do you think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to end up drafting a quarterback? Do you think it's in round 1? Day 1? Type day 1. If you think it's going to be on day 2, type day 2 down below. That's rounds 2 and 3. If you think it's going to be on day 3, type day 3. Or if you're like Mitch, they're not going to draft a quarterback this season, hey, call your shot. Let me know. My answer coming up after this YouTube ad break. I believe that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to take a quarterback on day 3, and I've been saying that for a long time. I don't think Shedeur is going to be in the cards. I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be in the cards. I believe that the silver and black are going to be looking at quarterbacks like Quinn Ewers, maybe a Jalen Milroe, also somebody like Will Howard and a Kyle McCord. But when you look at the top 30 visits that those Raiders QBs have, Cam Ward's obviously the number 1. Howard and Ewers are both going to be day 3 targets. If you take any of them before that, I'm going to be pretty disappointed, especially with the other talent that is available to teams in the draft. And that's why I'm so confident the Raiders do take a quarterback on day 3, because of how top-heavy the talent is in this class, and you got to use your top picks on a lot of those players, where round 5, 6, and 7, that's when I personally would try to draft a QB, because there's also better QBs coming out next year. Let's go to the running back position now, and the running back spot has been one that's been heavily talked about because of how bad the Raiders were last season. 3.6 yards per carry, last rushing yards per game, last 10 fumbles. I mean, last year, watching this team try to run the football, it was really, really frustrating. Let's just be real. The first visit that they have, or not first visit, but the first running back visit I'll talk about, is Ashton Jeanty, the number 1 running back, who the Raiders also met with Jeanty at the NFL Combine. If they're going to end up taking him, you're going to take him at number 6 overall. I personally think that he can do a lot of really, really special things, which is not going to be a big secret to anyone. The one thing, though, if I was the Raiders and I was sitting down to Ashton Jeanty, I'd go, what is your thought process of me putting you out there in pass protection? Are you able to pass protect? Because if Jeanty can't figure out pass protection, I'll tell you this right now, I don't know if he's worth the pick at number 6. If you're confident in his ability to get better at pass pro, well, then I think that you'd be more inclined to go with somebody like Genty, because when you turn on the tape, he's got balance, he's got patience, he's got the burst, and I do think that that would be a really, really fun pick overall with Geno Smith, but you also need an offensive line, or else you're not going to be able to run the football the way you want to. Another top 30 visit the Raiders have at the running back position is Iowa running back Caleb Johnson, and I love his patience. I love his ability to bounce it out to the outside and run outside zone, which is something that you're going to see a lot with Chip Kelly. But his patience to kind of sit back, wait, and then really hit the hole, that's going to be something really important. He does lack a little bit of lateral agility, was one of the losers from our NFL Combine, but I don't really care about that stuff. And I don't really think Pete Carroll's going to care about that stuff, because if you want a running back that's going to pick up 4 or 5 yards, right, or at least fall forward and continue to go, Caleb Johnson's a fun pick there. And last season, or the last 3 years, when the Seattle Seahawks have averaged 4.0 yards per carry, Geno Smith went 21-10. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. And when I look at this Raiders running back room, we need upgrades. We need somebody that I think can fit with Raheem Mostert. And I do think Ashton Genty is going to be able to fit with any backfield. But if the Raiders didn't want to draft their running back so high and you wanted to target somebody maybe in round 2, round 3, that's a good pairing with Mostert, I think Caleb Johnson is an intriguing prospect in that regard. So overall, when I see the 2 visits that the Raiders have scheduled thus far, I still think that Johnson and Genty do fit the mold of a good Pete Carroll compliment back to Mostert. But Genty's round 1. And if you're looking at Caleb Johnson, I think that you're probably going to have to take him in round 2, because I don't think he's going to be available at pick number 68 for the Silver and Black. It's a good reason, though, why you should try to figure out a way to trade back. Let's go to the cornerback room now for the top 30 visits here for the Silver and Black. And again, huge shout out to our sponsor, Panda Sups, for always hooking up Raider Nation. At the cornerback spot, though, the first name that I'm going to talk about here is Will Johnson. And I do think that Johnson's got to be a player that continuously is on Raiders fans' minds. He's big, he's long, he's athletic, which we know Pete Carroll loves that style. His biggest weakness that I see on tape is that recovery speed, but he's somebody that when you first turn on the tape, you're going to fall in love. He loves to be able to make plays, which he does. He does get burnt from time to time on a double move, which does concern me a little bit. But when you have as good of a defensive line as what this Raiders team has, plus with Will Johnson's connections to Michigan, this is a player that I think 6 would be a little bit early. I'm not going to lie to all y'all, but I definitely think if the Raiders were to trade back and you're in that 9 to 14 range, 9 to 12 range like Raider Ron was talking about on our live show, Will Johnson could absolutely be somebody that the Raiders look at and target. And I'm not going to say he's like a Richard Sherman. That's not really how I look at him. But everybody's going to sit here and they're going to try to compare every single cornerback to Richard Sherman, because that was the perfect corner for Pete Carroll. Let's go to a corner that I'm telling y'all right now, I think actually I think there might be a better chance that the Raiders draft Benjamin Morrison than somebody like Will Johnson, because Johnson you're going to have to take in round 1. Morrison you probably have to take at pick number 37, but I love his ability to make plays on the ball. 9 interceptions in 31 games played. He did have a torn labrum in his hip, which I actually didn't even know was possible. A torn labrum in your hip. I had to look it up, and scary injury. What scares me about that, though, is my biggest weakness in terms of the notes that our draft guys have on him is his inability to flip his hips at a high level coming off a hip injury. Like, what exactly does that look like? He does play a lot bigger than his size, super competitive. Like, one of the NFL scouts that I listen to a lot kind of compared him to a Marlon Humphrey, of somebody that's going to go out there and he's going to compete on every single down. Somebody that's going to go out there and give you 110% on every single down. That is the definition of what Pete Carroll is looking for in a cornerback. So based on those 2 top 30 visits, where it stands right now, Will Johnson's going to be a round 1 pick. Morrison is a round 2 corner, but he does have some injury issues, so maybe a few teams bump him down a little bit more. But the Raiders met with not only these guys for top 30 visits, they also met with both of them at the NFL Combine. So both met at the Combine, both top 30 visits. They are clearly on the Las Vegas Raiders radar, and they should be on your radar as well. Also, something that needs to be on your radar is how awesome Panda Sups is, whether you're looking for protein, whether you're looking for some nootropics. I don't know if y'all can tell. I'm bringing the energy today, and I had a huge scoop. Not going to lie to you. Huge scoop of the Super Nootropics to kind of wake myself up a little bit. We got some breaking news on this Tuesday, the day that I'm recording this video, around Ian Thomas. And, we had a lot of shit going on at the Chat Sports Studios. Well, guess what? I wasn't able to eat lunch. I had a nice little protein shake, had a scoop of my Super Nootropics, and now I'm ready to rock and roll. If you're also trying to get into better shape this season, or if you're trying to be more focused, maybe at work, maybe at school, I don't know, I've heard paying attention can help you out a little bit, and Super Nootropics is going to help you do that. If you're also like me and you get done with the day of work, but you still want to be able to get into the gym, I'll tell you this right now, y'all, I get how hard it is to motivate yourself, and me, I'm more of like, if I put my shoes on, if I put my gym clothes on, I'll go to the gym. You take a scoop of their brand new pre-workout, you're going to go to the gym, or because if you're just sitting around after taking some pre-workout, you're going to be like, I'm too fidgety. I need to go and lift some shit around. So use code DRAFT, 25% off at pandasupps.com. And for anybody that watches this show, when you use code DRAFT, that tells Panda that if you spend over $100 and if you're in the United States, domestic orders, they're also going to throw in a bag and a shaker. Pandasupps.com, code DRAFT, 25% off. I love Panda, and he's also a Raiders fan, so make sure you guys show him some love. Let's go to the linebacker position now for the Raiders' top 30 visit tracker, and not many linebackers have met with the Raiders. However, though, this one is a little bit intriguing to me because right now the only top 30 visit that the Raiders have scheduled at the linebacker position is with Jalen Walker. And I kind of look at Jalen as more of a outside linebacker edge prospect. Now, you can use him as a linebacker, but the way that I would kind of look at Jalen Walker is the way that the Raiders tried to use and did use K'Lavon Chasen last season. I would say that that's maybe the role that they would try to use for somebody like Jalen Walker, where you're unable to bring back K'Lavon. You have Malcolm Kuntz. What if Malcolm Kuntz is on a one-year deal? You put Jalen out there on the field with them, and you're just super flipping athletic at the outside linebacker edge position. It's not the biggest need for this team. I get it. But this guy is an absolute freak of nature when it comes to just being a true athlete. And I know that these long, lanky outside linebacker guys have had a lot of success in past Patrick Graham systems. But I did want to just mention some of the other linebackers that visited with the Raiders at the Combine, and I want to bring them up because they are like the complete opposite of Jalen Walker. Jackson Woodard, who he's going to end up meeting with the Raiders, doesn't have to be a top 30 visit again because he's local, UNLV. Carson Schweschinger, great undersized sideline-to-sideline linebacker who's just always around the football. Danny Stutzman and Cody Simon. None of those players are like a Jalen Walker, outside edge. These guys are more inside linebackers, and after the Raiders, which we know now, are not going to have Christian Ellis, again, at the time I'm making this video, they still could potentially try to go out and trade for him. It's 2 years, $13.5 million. But I know the Raiders are looking at an inside linebacker, and Jalen Walker doesn't quite fit that bill. So because of that, maybe Walker could be a potential Tyree Wilson replacement if he doesn't end up working out. But the Combine visits indicate that I would say linebacker interest is going to be somewhere between rounds 2 and 4. And that also is in line with something that we talked about on this channel about 3 months ago when we were told that quarterback, offensive line, and linebacker are 3 big positions that the Raiders are looking to upgrade. So because of that, just put that in the back of your mind, if you will. All right, let's go to the final position here that the Raiders have at least a scheduled visit with. It's at the safety position. And I'll be very blunt with what I'm about to say. I think free safety right now is the biggest need for the Raiders on this team because you at least have certain guys that you can consider starting. You don't have a single guy on this Raiders roster right now that you should have any confidence in that could be a day one free safety. We got a lot of versatile safeties, some strong safeties. I love me a Jeremy Chin. I love Isaiah Palamau, but neither of those guys can play free safety. So the safety market, I am looking at very closely. The first name that I'm going to bring up here is, I would say, the top safety in the 2025 NFL Draft. It's Malachi Starks from Georgia, and I do think he is a true do-it-all safety. He can cover, he can stop the run. He does have a tendency to get beat deep, which sometimes I wonder if he was just a little over cocky because he knew how talented Georgia was, and he kind of just went up to the line very often. And when teams would throw deep, once in a while he would get burnt. But overall, stud of a player. Probably going to have to take him, though, in round 1, right? Like, this isn't somebody that I want the Raiders to target at pick number 6, but if you trade back and he's available there, I can understand why they're looking at it. We've also seen before safeties fall down a little bit in drafts. We've seen teams go out and they find copycats. And when I look at a player like a Brian Branch, right, for Detroit, kind of reminds me a little bit of a Malachi Starks, not in the same way that they play, but in the ability to use them in a bunch of different ways. And when you can use players in a bunch of different ways, it can confuse offenses. And more teams are kind of doing this 3 safety, 2 linebacker set that Patrick Graham's been running for multiple years. Let's go to the next name here. It is Nick Emilwari. He is a safety for South Carolina, and this is one of my guys. I started talking about Emilwari a few months ago, and I just said, he kind of reminded me of Cam Chancellor, right? And when the Raiders first hired Pete, I went through and I started looking at prospects that I thought Carroll and this regime could potentially like. Emilwari did say that he models his game after Derwin James, which you can see on film. He loves to go up and hit people. He can drop back into coverage, and another dude that does a lot of different things. And what I'm about to say I hope doesn't scare you, but remember Tanner Muse, remember Divine Diablo. These are strong safeties that got converted to linebackers. I don't really want to do that with Emilwari, but I do want to use him as a, linebacker, safety, a little bit of a hybrid, because he can just do all these things very, very well, and he's a freak of nature when it comes to being an athlete. Like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with RAS score, but when you score a 10, I was going to say, Chug says it's perfect, and I get nobody's perfect, but, like, Nick Emilwari is the player that if you were to turn on your Xbox, PS5, and you were to do a create a player at the safety position, you would make him Nick Emilwari, right? Like 6'3", 227 pounds. The height, the speed, the athletic ability, it's actually super comparable to somebody like Cam Chancellor, but this is also a player that I don't think is going to be there for you in round 2. If the Raiders are serious about trying to target some of these guys, I think you might have to trade back a little bit and try to accumulate some extra draft picks. But right now, those are the only 2 top 30 visits that the Raiders have. Starks and Emilwari are going to be round 1 picks. I'm more confident in Starks going a little bit higher, but then again, it just takes one team to fall in love with Emilwari. The Raiders clearly want to run 3 safety defense, which shouldn't really surprise anybody out there. And the Raiders have been looking at safeties who are going to go in day 1, and they're going to go in day 2. And I think that they understand the importance of finding a safety. Though one name that I do not have note yet that the Raiders have a top 30 visit on him, Xavier Watts. I'm telling y'all right now, Xavier Watts is going to be somebody that this Raiders organization pays a very, very close attention to based on some of the things that I've heard. Now, we do have some other notes in terms of recent players that the Raiders met with at their pro day, and we sent the Chat Sports team some of the guys to the Big 12 pro day, and these are 4 names that the Silver and Black have met with in some sort of fashion at pro day. Jeffrey Bossa, the linebacker from Oregon, Teddy Buchanan from Cal, Caleb Etienne, very raw prospect from BYU, and then Caleb Rogers, an offensive lineman from Texas Tech. I tweeted this out last week, but a very versatile offensive lineman that has played left tackle, left guard, right guard, and right tackle, all at Texas Tech over the past 5 years. A lot of playing experience. So as it stands right now, those are all the top 30 visits that the Raiders have. And again, I'm making this video on March 25th, and I'm doing it live. If you're not watching this live, reminder, we go live every single Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. This video is going to go out on Wednesday, so if there is any other official top 30 visits, I will do my best to update this video, whether it be at the beginning or somewhere at the end. All right, y'all, what is your favorite thing to sip on?
So,
how do you want to do this, Chugs?
The crux of this question
I was going to say,
came from, we were debating, besides water, what do you think is the most drank liquid in the world? Drunk liquid, drank liquid, drinking, drunken, drank.
On this show, it's probably Happy Dads.
But then it got me thinking, like, besides water, what is your go-to drink? Like, if I said you could have water and one other drink, what would it be?
I mean, the thing that I think I drink the most of is coffee. Coffee? I love coffee. Like coffee ice cream, coffee desserts,
I see
coffee.
Beer, Gatorade, tea, coconut juice. Is Richie Renz in the chat? Oh,
Coconut juice.
Iced coffee, Powerade, Dr. Pepper. A lot of people in the office are huge DP fans, and they like Dr. Pepper. Coffee, Powerade, orange soda, bourbon.
Holy shit, dude. That, I'll tell you what, you could taste all 23 flavors in that joke. I promise you.
Dude, underrated. The Dwyers, you're 1,000% correct. Fresca is so underrated.
Fresca?
I love a Fresca.
What the hell's a Fresca?
It's like a soda, and they have different flavors, but my favorite, like the original, is like grapefruit citrus soda. So it's like
grapefruit citrus.
Yeah, so it's like a grapefruit and like other citruses in a soda. So it's like a citrus soda. It's good.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm not a big soda drinker. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Like, I like a good Coke Zero from time to time. I also like a good DP. No doubt about it. Dude, a Diet DP just fills you up nice. You know what I'm saying? I actually like diet sodas more because I think that they're sweeter. So because of that,
for me, it has to be,
I like sweet. Like, I do.
And like the thing is, for me, I don't know why. I don't know what the difference is really, but Coke Zero,
Gatorade.
Coke Zero or Dr. Pepper Zero are way better than Diet Coke or Diet Dr. Pepper.
I agree with that.
Like the Zero, I don't know why.
Oh, quite frankly, there's at times like when I try those different kinds, and I had Diet Coke the other day, and I didn't even think it was close.
Drake, no way your favorite drink is chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk?
Could you imagine you get one other liquid besides water, chocolate milk.
I'm not going to lie. I thought his name was Drake Juggers, so I thought it made sense.
Dude.
I saw somebody said...
One of the funniest moments that I had at college is I remember me and a bunch of my...
Zima is wild.
Me and a bunch of my buddies were leaving the gym, and we just all packed into one of my buddies had a truck. We just all packed into the back of his truck because we were just like going around campus.
Sure.
Some dude who was swole was like walking into the gym. He had like a torn up shirt, like short shorts on. He had 2 huge water jugs, and he's like walking down the street.
Do you know why?
We walked by, and I just yelled, "Nice jugs!"
That's the most comment I've ever heard.
He was low-key mad.
Of course he was. Do you know why people carry around that much water?
Why?
Creatine. Well, probably. If he was like massive and you're carrying around that much water, so dude,
there were 2 full-gallon water jugs.
So you have to consume a lot of water when you're on creatine. Creatine is actually one of the things that I take from Panda. It helps like with your muscles, no doubt about it. But when you're carrying around that much water, you're trying to drink.
Nice jugs.
Sam goes, your muscles. You should maybe take more creatine. All right, y'all, let's get into some duck races that we have here, and then we're going to get into the final segment coming up here on today's show, which is going to be around the top players that I want the Raiders to target in round 2 at pick 37 of the NFL draft. I do want to try to get through some more races, though, in our Oakland region, which means the race that we are about to get into, it's going to be Randall Carter up against Johnny B. Good. Winner goes up against Raider Ron. After that, we got Rustin Long against Gilbert Moreno. And then Blaine. Though I actually spelled Blaine's name wrong. It's Blaine Krieg. We got to fix that. That's on me. Sorry, Blaine Krieg. And then it's going to be against Trent Hamada. Johnny B. Good. Randall Carter. Winner plays Raider Ron. 3, 2, 1. Already started. Imagine you're just like, you're getting ready for the jump, and the ref hands the ball, and the game's already started. You're like, all right, we're just going to run it here. And here we go, baby. This one's close. Johnny B. Good, Randall Carter, an 8 and a 9 seed. 2 people that race all the flipping time. Who's going to come out on top? Johnny B. Good with a little bit of a lead right now. Come on, Randall. Come on, Randall. B. Good is pulling away. Carter's going to have to put on the nos. Is he going to be able to catch him? Not enough. Too big of a lead for Johnny B. Good. Mr. B. Good, congratulations to you, Randall Carter. I'm sorry, man. Desert Raider, DP fills you up nice. Oh, dude, that's a pause. I know. The worst is when it makes you burp. Oh, you take a big old gulp. Though, I'm not going to lie. Nabman looks like he spits out Dr. Pepper. Not a doubt in my mind. Congrats to Johnny B. Good for advancing, going up against Raider Ron. The next race. Dude, 8 and a 9, that's big. Rustin Long up against Gilbert Moreno in the Oakland region. We got to get through all the round 1 games today. So just, again, if you're not in these duck races, be patient with me. There's also a lot at stake. Like, the winner of all these races goes home with $1,600. So be patient. Rustin Long. I'll say this. So far, I think Rustin's girlfriend has got Gilbert Moreno feeling some type of way. The amount of shots that Rustin's girl bought everybody when we all hung out in North Carolina earlier this year, or technically, week 1 last year, it might have been the most shots I've ever seen anybody purchase at one time. It was unbelievable. Rustin! Dude. Oh, wait a minute here. Gilbert. Rustin Long with the win. Come on, man. Ed Robbins, is it your nap time? Heckling Nav a little bit. Carlo said, Rustin Long sounds like a porn name. There's only one way to find out if it is. Who's going to Google it? It's not going to be me. I have already looked up plenty of that stuff, and I can't look up anymore. My dad's in the chat. What up, Pops? Oh, boy. I got a lot of messages. All right. Blaine Craig, Trent Hamada. Here we go. Let's get this thing rocking. Let's get it rocking. Blaine up against Mr. Hamada. Yes, my dad here is in the building. Jonathan Smith, Big Luck, Lord Cameron Abbott, all pulled up. Blaine, I don't remember how far Blaine got last year. I also don't remember. Trent actually races a lot as well. So some of the seeds were kind of hard to be able to figure out how I'm going to end up doing it. A lot of it was random. I'm not going to lie to y'all. A lot of it was also just based on how many times I see you guys participating in the show. This one's close. No one wants to win, though, I think. Holy shit. Blaine! Craig! Come on, dude. Come on, Blaine. Sorry, Trent. That was a close one. I'm telling you this right now, if Blaine wins this whole thing, the Blaine Craig bang it's going to be just monumental. It's going to be monumental. There's just certain names that are just, you love to see it. You love to see it. We're going to do some more. All right, so where are we at exactly? Halfway through the Oakland region. I say let's just finish off the Oakland region. All right, so we're going to finish off the Oakland region. We still have one more race in Los Angeles to do for LA Crash Dog when he decides to show up an hour from now and say, what's up, fam? What did I miss? And then the Brockton region we will do at the very, very, very end of today's show after our next segment, which again is going to be around players that I want the Raiders to draft in round 2 at pick number 37. Austin Gomez, David Vergara. You ready? Y'all ready for this? Do it in the soft voice. I don't know what that means. Soft voice? No idea, man. If anybody also wants to get some Raiders questions in while we are doing these, please comment your questions down below, and I'll do my best to answer as we do this. Richie is in the chat. Yeah, my dad's got some beer emojis, which is never a good sign for me. Vergara! Gomez! Oh, man, this is going to be really close. Vergara just was able to kick it into the extra gear. Gomez, unfortunately, was not. And it's a big, big win for David Vergara. Let's go, man. We will get to the supers. Nav, I can read through those. Blaine Cheney says, where'd you get that dope hat from the last video? Anytime anybody's ever seen me rock a hat, chances are I either got the hat from chatsports.com/Raiders hats, or I got it from a company called Culture Kings, but they sell out a bunch of stuff all the time. Those are the two places where I get my hats. So chatsports.com/Raiders hats. It's going to take you to a website that's got hundreds and hundreds of Raiders hats, or, Culture Kings. I get a lot of my stuff from Culture Kings. I've talked to some of those guys. I would like to be able to do an event with them next year in Las Vegas. Still TBD on that one. Jamari Murray, Rupert Daniel, and we are moving. You all right? Oh. A little hot in there. I'll tell you what, Jamari was what, a 3-seed or a 14? Or a 3-seed or a 4-seed? I'll say Jamari's a 3-seed. This would be a huge upset by Rupert Daniel. Huge upset if Rupert's able to pull this one off. 2 first names. Is it, though? Is Rupert a first name? Yeah, I know it's his, but it doesn't make it a first name. Rupert! 2 first names takes down Jamari Murray. Damn. Nabman, thoughts out to Sacktown Raider Mike for his procedure tomorrow. Tough mother effort. Should be no worries. His military services contribute to this need. American hero is Raider Mike. So big shout out from Nabman to Raider Mike. Steve, Raiders and Lions also met with Sean. Let me see. Met with, in what regard? Like combine, or because top 30 visit? No, not that what I have documented. Like they might have met, like non-formal. That could have been one, but the names that I just gave in that last video that I did were names that I could confirm. So there might be 1 or 2 names that I don't know. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Buck Kirk, David Rubio. Ready? Here we go. This is a 7 against 10 matchup, correct? 7 against 10 matchup. After this race, we got one more to do in the Oakland region, and then I say we just quickly go through and just show the update of the Oakland region. Buck Kirk, little bit of a lead. Paratrooper. Is he a paratrooper? Emmanuel Sanchez. Mitch, did you hear about Alex Pierce? I'll talk about that in a moment. Rubio! Oh, man. I think there's enough. Rubio just edges him out. I'll be honest, I don't really know why the Alec Pierce connections are being thrown out there right now. I know Alec Pierce was a name. True. Chugs did talk about Pierce a few weeks ago. Pierce was a name that I mentioned last season because of his connection with Gardner Minshew, obviously from the year before. But, like, there's still good wide receivers that the Raiders could sign a free agency, and I'll be fully transparent. It wouldn't shock me if, think about the names that we're talking about, right? Tyler Lockett, we're talking about Keenan Allen, we're talking about Stephon Diggs. These are older veterans. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to wait for a little while, even like after the draft, to see which teams didn't draft a receiver, which teams did draft a receiver, because then their value goes up. But also they risk, if they sign right now, that the Raiders or another team could just go out and sign a receiver. I think that some of those names could end up signing a little bit later this offseason than what we initially thought. The 2-seed Husker Raider against the 15-seed Justin Salazar, the final race in the Oakland region. Here we go. I'm pulling for Husker. I'm not going to lie to y'all. And he's in red. Husker Raider in red. Will he come away with a dub? I actually think red's my least favorite color. Though I like red on Alex. I like bright colors on her. Like a bright red, a bright blue. Like, I like bright. Red, though, I don't know. It was like literally, it was one of my first car colors. Couldn't stand it, dude. Couldn't stand it. Salazar, Husker Raider. Are we about to have an upset for the ages? I think we are. Justin Salazar, the 15 seed, with the win. Sorry, Husker. Sorry, Husker. It's a good race, though. It's a good race. All right, y'all. That is the final race of the Oakland region. So what I want to do is I want to go through, I want to show all of y'all the updated Oakland region. I got a segment that we're going to do here on the Raiders Report, which is going to be around the top candidates that I want the Raiders to target in round 2. And then after that, we will do all the remaining round 1 races here on the Raiders Report. Nav said, I'm not very confident in my race. You got to be confident. Here's the thing. It's a coin flip every time. Literally a coin flip. Every single time. My favorite drink, somebody said earlier, Haterade. Haterade. All right. Once we get the bracket up to date, there's some people that probably would. There's probably some people that would. So here's the updated bracket now that we got. And again, Las Vegas region, we are all the way through that. We will do some of those races on Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And the Los Angeles region, where you're still looking and waiting for LA Crash Dog. He's going to be going up against Keelan O'Leary, and winner of that's going to be up against Finesse Lounge. Misty Williamson, Ryan Campbell, very, very interesting. And the Oakland region, I'll tell you what, the very top of the bracket, it's been chalky. The bottom of each bracket, though, has been kind of insane. Ron, Johnny B. Good, Rustin Long up against Blaine Craig. That's going to be a fun one. And then at the bottom, you got David Vergara against Rupert Daniel, who pulled off a huge upset. David Rubio up against Justin Salazar, who pulled off a huge upset, which means the next race that we're going to do after our next segment, LCA against Bridget, Joe Maldonado against Adrian Leon, Darth against Marcus, Anthony Green, who's here against Richard Magbull, and then Sancho against Raymond, Raspberry against Amanda, Mo against Eric, and then 93 Navman against Azar. So, next segment coming up here is going to be around players that the Raiders could potentially draft at pick number 37 in round 2. It's going to be fun. I also have this ranked from 10 all the way down to 1. 10 all the way down to 1. I think we've caught up with all the super chats. I read all of them out loud, though. If you want to show the Navman one, he's trying to show some love to Raider Mike. If we can pull those through. Lord Cameron Abbott. Bang! Lord Cameron Abbott. It's fun to stay at the LCA. Come on, dude. Here's for some good luck for 93 Navman and me. Had to rhyme. Let's get it. Raiders. Mount Raider Moore showing love to 93 Navman. Hey, man, I always say this. When you put good energy out in the world, good shit happens. And I hope for your sake and for Nav's sake that some good shit happens. Blaine, where'd you get that dope hat? Again, chatsports.com/Raiders hats, or I got it from Culture Kings. I do not remember on which one. Navman, thoughts out to Sacktown Raider Mike for his procedure tomorrow. Tough mother effer, should be no worries. Clearly his military services contributed to this need. American hero, Raider Mike. And I've seen Sacktown Raider Mike in a bunch of shows, not only the Raiders Report. So best of luck to you, man, Sacktown Raider. Navman speaks very, very highly of you now, and he's brought you up multiple times to me when Navman and I have hopped on phone calls. Steve, Raiders and Lions also met with Sean Dulac. Okay. Sean Dulac. He is a Buffalo linebacker, it looks like, 23 years old.
Any relation to Gary?
No idea. I have no idea.
And Lord Cameron Abbott, which, funny enough, we have a lot of y'all know him as one of the top producers here at Chat Sports. We have Sam here in the room with us. He's helping build some of the draft stuff. And actually, when you sent this in, LCA, and mind you, Sam's a Broncos fan. He said, wow, I hope LCA and Navman lose. That's what he said, not my words. Really? Sam was like, I really hope they lose. Kind of effed up thing for Sam to say.
Damn, brutal. Damn, brutal.
I was just telling them how when Navman sent in his super and LCA sent in his super, you were saying that you hope they lose their duck races, which is just not cool. Mm-hmm. Sam said if it was a Broncos fan, he would definitely win. That's what Sam said. You're just digging your grave even more, Sam.
Brave man. A brave man.
Get Sam out of here. Yeah, F Sam's in the chat.
I mean, here's the thing. The fact that Sam's just chilling in here right now, you're over here, there's a lot of room for activities in this new studio that we have, which is a huge, huge shout out to everybody that continuously shows us love, but is, proof of, like, we got a lot of construction going on here in the Chat Sports studios, and it's a big, big testament of, a lot of the stuff that y'all have done.
Oh!
Lord Cameron Abbott! Bang! He said, F Sam, 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 F Sam. Lord Cameron Abbott. I'll tell you what. There's certain inside jokes that I love that we have at this point of this show.
Let's go.
This is always going to be one of them, but there's going to be someday I'm walking down the street and some guy's going to look at me and be like, F Sam.
It's so funny, too, because Zalesbo is like one of the nicest people I've ever met, but then anytime that's brought up, she's the first one. F Sam. F Sam.
Nah,
Zalesbo wouldn't hurt a fly. YouTube comments. In the YouTube comments, F Sam.
F Sam. Throwing him down there below. Now it's
wouldn't hurt a fly unless that fly's name was Sam.
Perhaps.
She knows it, dude. She's laughing in the comments.
What up, Day Day? What up, Raphael? And then Big Tar. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Today's show, you never know what's gonna happen. Cameron, bro, I'm pulling for you. I'm pulling for you because if you don't win, well, I don't know. Then you're doing some weird shit on the side. You're doing some weird shit on the side.
All right, we got a little cold open action.
Shout out to Lord Cameron Abbott, dude. That shit's electric. Let me know down below, who do you want the Raiders to draft in round 2, pick 37. That's what we're going to be talking about coming up next here on the show. And I'm going to go through it. I'll kind of explain why the players are in here the way that they are. And don't get me wrong, I could have gone a lot of different routes here. And I hope that you like the 10 players that if I was in the same room with John Spytek, Pete Carroll, these would be the 10 players that I would look at. But that's also just based off of who could potentially be available. We'll see. Jesus, Criminy, and Joseph. 93 Naaman. Bang! Patriots fans, the dynasty is over. Get in here and bandwagon this run as we become the new dynasty. I'll tell you what, man. I hope you're right. If the Raiders actually start winning football games, I don't know how I'll handle myself. Mentally as a Raiders fan, I love the offseason because we got a chance in the offseason. You start getting near to the regular season and I start sweating, but bro, I hope you're right.
He calls out Sam. He says, Lord Cameron Abbott, haters gonna hate.
Hey, haters gonna hate. It's a common theme when other teams lose their only shot at a CHP at quarterback? CHP at quarterback. I don't know. What is a CHP?
A cornerstone.
No worries, Sacktown Raider Mike. We got your back, bro. We always got Sacktown Raider Mike.
Oh, a championship.
Oh. So I was like, I don't know what a CHP is.
I was thinking cornerstone something player.
Okay.
But
I was thinking chocolate, hot fudge, and peanuts because that was a sundae I used to get as a kid. There was a place near me, they used to call it CHP Sunday, and it was a chocolate, hot fudge, peanuts sundae.
Wait. But
CHP.
Chocolate and hot fudge, is that the same thing?
Chocolate ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Hot fudge, peanuts.
I was like, isn't that redundant? Chocolate and hot fudge?
I mean, for me, no.
I thought they were like ice cream. We add some chocolate, then we add the hot fudge. It was just
CHP. I'm pretty sure that was my mom used to get it a lot. Chocolate, hot fudge, peanuts, and a little sundae.
Can we get a CHP after the DMV?
Dude, you get some ice cream from either Heaters Drive-In or I can't think of the other name. The other random ice cream place that's been in my hometown. I haven't been there in a while. So that's on me.
I've actually been in
chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. What's the best ice cream out of those flavors? C for chocolate, B for vanilla, S for strawberry.
You'll probably love this answer for me. I've been on some coffee ice cream. Some coffee ice cream with like some chocolate in there, like mixed in.
Oh,
dude, it's the best.
So I bought my Ninja Creamy to be healthy. What I made over the weekend was not healthy, I'll be honest. But I made some coffee. So I literally just made coffee, a lot of creamer. When I make sometimes like out of my Ninja Creamy, I'll get like cream cheese, like sweet cream cheese. Put that in and makes it super creamy. I also bought fluff, like marshmallow fluff. It's unbelievable. If you want to be a piece of shit one night, you make anything you want in the Ninja Creamy, throw some marshmallow fluff in it. It's going to blow your mind, dude.
See,
it's going to blow your mind.
Jeremy Cole, I might be on the outs here because I know my wife likes it. I'm not a fan of cookie dough ice cream.
I like cookie dough. I will say this. Maybe it's a hot take. Maybe it's one of the more overrated ice creams.
I like cookie dough. I like ice cream, but I always feel like the ratio's never right, and
I just want all cookie dough.
Yeah, whenever I eat cookie dough ice cream, I'm like looking for the cookie dough in there.
Now, like there's some like brands where there's a lot of cookie dough in it, then I'm on board. But if it's I need every bite to have a piece of cookie dough.
I'd rather do the brownie batter ice cream, like with like the pieces of brownie in it or like brownie fudge or whatever, than the I'm just saying.
I'm with you. That sounds good.
And aggressive, that's the actual right choice. Cookies and cream is the best ice cream of all time.
Although Nabman said, I got the Panda cookies and cream. Me and my wife put it in the ice cream maker. Epic.
It's good.
Like I'm not like Panda, they are a sponsor of the show a lot. I'm telling y'all, if you are somebody that is a big ice cream fan, but you're also trying to eat healthy, Panda Sups, I literally think Panda Sups protein was made for my Ninja Creamy. What you can do, it's just mind-blowing to me. Coffee ice cream with toffee from Dan.
I'm talking coffee ice cream. I'm talking cookies and cream. And I have Sam over here trying to tell me vanilla bean. That's like the one that would be at my grandma's house. My grandma would have the vanilla bean.
Like just vanilla bean. Like there's nothing, just vanilla bean.
Just vanilla bean.
You probably love cheese pizza too. Loves cheese pizza. Cheese pizza.
I feel like vanilla bean ice cream is good, but like I need it with like, in a cookie sandwich or like with like bananas Foster, like a scoop of vanilla bean.
Yeah, see, like if you're gonna like a good vanilla ice cream, I hear you, but it has to have something else with it.
Yes,
like you just gotta have something else with it. What is a ninja cream pie from Braden?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, that you don't want to look up.
Yeah.
That looks like it's made by Rustin Long. Let's just put it like that.
It's what Jackie Chan doesn't want you to know.
It's called a Ninja Creamy. It's basically a machine that almost when I say almost, like it can literally turn almost anything into ice cream. And it's because of the blade and how quick it moves. We talk about it a lot because a few years ago, Chugs was talking about this like Ninja Creamy thing that he was seeing on TikTok. And I ended up buying one for me, and I forget how many years ago that was, but I came out of the store with 3 Ninja Creamies. I bought one for Alex's mom, I bought one for me, and I got one for Chugs for his birthday. Dude, I use it all the time. In the summer,
it's great.
I use it all the time.
Summertime, summertime the best. And actually, like, I really like the
Rustin.
just the sorbets. Like, just put peaches in the freezer and do it like peach sorbet.
That Alex and I actually made a healthy one the other day where we did. I'm not kidding you. This is the only ingredients: almond milk. And we threw in a bunch of frozen mangoes. Blended it up, let it freeze for about probably like 10 hours, threw it in the Ninja Creamy. It's unbelievable. Like, those are the only 2 ingredients, I swear to you. And it's popping out sorbets that are healthy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a sorbet that you can eat that you're not feeling like a piece of shit of after. You get some Ninja Creamy, though.
Oh, dude.
With some Panda Sups,
and
mind-blowing.
It's funny that we mentioned the Ninja Creamy. Quick shout out, RIP to George Foreman and all 12 of his kids, 5 of which are named George, passed away.
It's the most random shout out.
But he was like the original Ninja Creamy. Was like he had all like the George Foreman grill. It was the George Foreman fryer. It
could have been. So do you know why George Foreman got the grill? Because Hulk Hogan he wanted action figures instead of the George Foreman grill. Originally, the maker of the George Foreman grill went to Hulk Hogan and said, do you want to do this? And he didn't think it was a good idea, so instead he did action figures, and then George got the George Foreman grill. So imagine if it would have been called the Hulk Hogan grill.
No, nobody would have gotten it.
You don't think?
I don't know.
I think more people might have gotten it.
George Foreman, though. Shout out to him. 12 kids, 5 of which named George.
Perry says, what's the use of eating healthy ice cream? It's supposed to be a guilty pleasure. Here's how I would respond to that. For somebody that, when I open up a pint of ice cream, you know, like that pint's going into the garbage after because I'm crushing it. Like I can't, like Alex can pick at ice cream for days, weeks sometimes.
Braden said only if it's
open it up, it's gone. Like I'm crushing it. That's why I love the Ninja Cream.
Braden said it would only be a good idea if every time you opened it, it said brother.
Or in today's day, it's got to also say,
your burger's ready, brother.
Your burger's ready, brother. How done do you want it to be? All right, let's get in the next segment. Coming up here, we're going to talk about players that I want the Raiders to look at and potentially target in round 2, pick 37 of the NFL draft. Rebel says, I believe in the second segment. Yeah, it'll happen sooner or later. It'll happen sooner or later. And then after this, more duck races, and then Chugs and I are going to GTFO. If you're looking for Raiders draft videos, and if you want to be able to pull up with Jeremy Chugs and I live for the 2025 NFL draft, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. We are going to be live for every single pick all 3 days, and you will see the picks here on this channel before you see them on TV. That is my promise to you. Raider Nation, what's going on? The silver and black are on the clock. It's round 2, pick number 37. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, I'm going to break down the top 10 players I want John Spytek and Pete Carroll to target in round 2 at pick number 37. I have these players ranked from 10 all the way down to 1, and I'll kind of break down why I have each player where I do. In terms of the criteria to make this show, I ran 10 mock drafts this morning, and I ran them on PFN and PFF. Players in this video had to be available to me at least 50% of the time. I was hoping that I was going to be able to get some offensive linemen, maybe an Emeka Ibuka was kind of hoping for. But these rankings are based on Raiders' needs and overall team fit. Of course, how much I like the player, but it's not me saying this guy's better than this one. It is, this is currently the player that I would draft if I was the Raiders, and every single one of these names, the Raiders have shown at least a little bit of interest in. Let's go to number 10 coming up here on the list, and I got Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. It's not a secret that the Raiders' running back room was really bad last season. In fact, it was the worst in the NFL. And I think when you look at the style of runner that Johnson is, at 6 foot, 225 pounds, he's a thumper. He's somebody that's going to go north and south. He's not going to waste a lot of time. Good inside zone type of runner. And when you pair that with Raheem Mostert, who does have legit home run ability, I think that that's low-key a sneaky good move for the Raiders. Somebody that you're not going to have to go out and get like super high in the draft, but I have him at number 10 because I would like to be able to get him a little bit later than 37. But if you're also a team that needs a running back, and I do think that there is a chance that running backs go off the board a little bit earlier than what we're accustomed to because of how deep this class is. And I think you could see it almost like the way offensive linemen went off the board last season. The Raiders do have a top 30 visit with them, so they're obviously interested. Does have that explosive ability, shows you good patience, has good hands, does need to work, though, on his overall receiving ability. So let's say right now you're on the clock, you're sitting down to this Raiders team, you're in the war room, and John Spytek and Pete, they look at you. Pete's probably looking at you like this, just chomping on that gum. Who do you want the Raiders to draft at pick 37? If you tuned into today's show, this is the number one question that I want you to answer. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, scroll on down, and please answer this question. Let's go to number 9 here on my list of the Raiders players that I would like for the Silver and Black to target in round 2. I'm going to go Siobhan Revel Jr., cornerback out of ECU. This is somebody that I would also consider to be one of my guys. He has fallen down in my rankings a little bit due to some injuries. Now, I liked what I saw overall this offseason, but that injury did scare me at the beginning of last season. But look at him. He's 6'3", 193 pounds. Once he gets in an NFL weight room, he's going to be able to put on a little bit of muscle. He's going to be able to put on a little bit of size. I don't want to throw out the name like a Tariq Woolen, but Tariq Woolen was a freak of nature as an athlete, smaller school guy, UTSA. That was somebody Pete Carroll showed interest in. I think Siobhan Revel Jr. is also one of those just freak athletes. Like, he's got the NFL traits, speed, the body length. It fits exactly what Pete Carroll likes. That torn ACL in September does concern me a little bit, and it's probably one of the reasons why he's fallen down some draft boards. He's going to be good to go by week 1, unless he suffers a setback, right? But for somebody that went to a small school, for somebody that is known for being just a freak athlete, and them not really being able to test at 100% strength right now, I do think it's kind of impacted his overall ability. But when you are as talented as what Revel is, this is going to be a player that if the Raiders take him at 37, the upside is absolutely there, and you believe in this regime to make corners work because that's what this regime has been able to do. When I say regime, Pete Carroll, Spytek, our coaching staff, I believe in them a lot. Let's go to number 8 here. I'm going to go with Quinshawn Judkins. And yes, I am sitting up here saying that I would rather the Raiders get Judkins at pick 37 than Caleb Johnson, than Siobhan Revel Jr. And I say that because of familiarity, where he is a tank, dude. He is a low-to-the-ground, 5'11", and when he runs like he's 5'7", which I kind of like because he's low to the ground, and you can tell that he's going to pack a punch, and he's trying to run through your mother effing face. 194 carries last season with Chip Kelly, and you could see in the Natty, and you could see kind of in the college football playoffs, they used him a lot. He's a running back where if you're in the lead and you got to try to tackle this guy in the third and the fourth quarter, or you got to try to tackle him in January, December, I hope in February, I do think that that's going to be a lot more of a mental task than what people realize. For the Raiders, they met with him at the NFL Combine. We know that he has a connection to Chip Kelly, but because of that powerful running style and because he's really good on inside runs, him paired with somebody like Mostert, I could see them doing. He's decent at pass protection. I would like to see him get better at it, and he's good at catching the football. But that's the problem where if I'm going to take a running back this early, you better be able to pass protect. You better be able to catch the football. Let's go to number 7 on my list here for top round 2 targets for the Silver and Black. I'm going to go with cornerback out of Mississippi, Trey Amos. And this is actually a player that the more and more I watch him, the more and more I start to like him. And I actually want to be able to sit down and watch more tape on him. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. But he's a playmaker, right? Like, he has a nose for the football, and he has a nose for being able to break up passes. 13 PBUs last season, 50 tackles, 3 INTs in the SEC. The Silver and Black have met with him at the NFL Combine, but it's the ball skills, the excellent instincts of just being at the right spot at the right time. My other thing that I love is when you see a player who does slowly get better, and when you see somebody, their technique gets better, their footwork gets better, their just football IQ gets better, and you can really see it in his ability to cover receivers. And, like, I don't really think it should surprise anybody, because when you're in the SEC, right, like, you're going up against great talent. You're going up against Ole Miss. Like, you're going up against great talent. And his ability, you saw, he got better and better and better. And that's a coaching quality that I love, because I know this staff, it has a lot of good coaches. And when you see somebody that's able to improve, I am a sucker for that type of shit. Let's go to number 6 here, and it's wide receiver out of Iowa State, Jaden Higgins. Now, I will admit, the Raiders do not have a top 30 visit with Higgins yet. It might end up happening. They also do not have an NFL, or they did not meet with him at the NFL Combine. But what I do know is the Raiders have been looking at X receivers. And if you miss out on a Teteroa McMillan at pick 6, I think the guy that you could probably get in the round 2 at number 37 is Jaden Higgins. Now, I don't have Higgins as a top 45 overall prospect. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do look at this as being a need. Somebody who had 87 catches, who had close to 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he's somebody that I do think fits very well with what the Raiders are looking for with Geno Smith. The Silver and Black did meet with his teammate Jalen Newell, and they also have a top 30 visit with him, not only at the Combine, but again, they also are going to do a top 30 visit with him. Because the Raiders have been looking for an X, and because it's been a little bit slow in free agency, what if they just wait for the draft, and if you're able to get Higgins? I originally wanted Higgins to be kind of in this round 3 range, but he just is not going to be available at pick 68, and he's kind of in that weird purgatory range where you're like, I don't know if I love it at 37, but I also not going to get him at 68. So because I know the Raiders need another wide receiver, and his ability to run a complete route tree is really good for somebody like Geno. His ability to go up and get balls for fades, really important for Geno. He's also really smart, and I know we don't like Travis Kelce, but Kelce has a knack for being able to find open zone holes, and it's because he's a really smart player. That's also what Jaden Higgins does. He does it time and time again. Love what he brings to the table, but if you're somebody that likes Teteroa McMillan, you could get somebody that is the lesser version of him in Jaden Higgins at pick number 37, because I think you could go Ashton Genty, Jaden Higgins. Or somebody might say, Mitch, I'd rather go Teteroa McMillan and then try to get somebody like a Quinshot Junkins. To each their own. Higgins, though, I do think is a good fit with Geno, and if I didn't think that he would be a good fit with Geno, he would not be ranked as high as what he is. Before we get into the top 5 players that I want the Raiders to target at pick number 37 in round 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft, I got to show some love to our sponsor, Prize Picks. You can actually get $50 when you play 5 over at Prize Picks, and all you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. So if you're watching this show right now and you're like, all right, Mitch, talk to me. Download the app today, use code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. Why should you do it? Well, PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. So if that sounded good to you, then download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And if you are trying to run your game, huge shout out to you, whether you want it to be baseball, whether you want it to be basketball, whether you want it to be a Raiders season long, you can do that. But I am filming this on Tuesday, which is when I go live, and they also have different deals like Taco Tuesday. But for anybody that's planning on watching some basketball games this week, like they right now, 1 point. If Cooper Flagg scores 1 point, then you win, right? Like, that's pretty easy to me. So then that means you just got to test your knowledge, pick more or less on one other player, and then you're going to be able to watch the winnings roll in. If you do end up winning, one of the things that I love about Prize Picks is you can actually get your money in as quick as 15 minutes, quick withdrawals, easy payout. That stuff for me is simple peace of mind, which is huge for me. So if you're watching this show right now and you want to get started with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, download the app today. Use code CLNS. That link's going to be available, y'all, down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Let's go to the next player on my list, and it is Maxwell Harrison, cornerback from Kentucky. And this is somebody that is really, really, really shooting up my boards because of how athletically gifted he is. Now, I'll be real. I could see Pete Carroll in this regime actually not liking Maxwell Harrison. I could also see this regime looking at him and going, I can make this kid really, really special. He's 5'11", definitely a little bit undersized. I would like to be able to see him put up, a little bit more weight, and maybe that's why he's one of the worst tackling corners I've seen, and that does make me nervous, and that's one of the reasons why I could see maybe them not loving him, because he is a huge liability in the running game and really wants nothing to do with trying to tackle. Kind of reminds me of Jack Jones playing Ole. Honestly, even what's his name, Marcus Peters from a few years ago, wants no part of it. But extremely versatile corner who I think could play in man and I think could play in zone. And when I think about what the Raiders are looking at, they want to be able to find players that have a lot of that versatility. And if you miss out on the opportunity to get a true 3 safety, I do think Maxwell Harrison gives you that ability where you can play him in the nickel, you can play him on the outside. And at that 4.28 speed, plus the ball skills are on top of that, if he can add some weight, not lose so much burst. But the other part that I love about his game is he can play in the flat. He's just really able to move all over the football field, and he's quick, in between routes. He follows people really well. It would be tough to get high upside, but there is some risk, I'm not going to lie to y'all, to Maxwell Harrison. Let's go to number 4, and if I'm being real, this is really for me when I would say there is a clear tier gap of who I want the Raiders to take at pick number 37. Linebacker Carson Schweschinger from UCLA. 6'2", 242 pounds, a little bit undersized as a linebacker, but sometimes I don't give a shit. And Carson, when you turn on his tape, is the player of you're like, all right, this guy looks a little bit small, kind of looks, I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done, and it just is always around the football. One of the linebackers that I loved the previous year, his name is Peyton Wilson, and I know the Raiders, Patrick Graham, really liked him as well. Wilson is a much better athlete, but Wilson was always around the football. Carson Schweschinger is kind of that exact same player. 136 tackles, 4 sacks for the Bruins last year, and he also met with the Raiders at the NFL Combine. His instincts, you just can't really relate to it, because I think if you were to watch him at the Combine and you just see how he tested, you probably wouldn't be all that impressed. And he's still a very good player overall, but he averaged 7.5 solo tackles per game this past season for the Bruins. That was the highest in FBS since the year 2020. When I think about the type of player that a Landon Roberts is, somebody who's going to hit stick you, come downhill, and just make you feel him for 4 freaking quarters, when you have that type of player and then you pair it with Schweschinger, I think it's actually a very good linebacker duo, somebody that can cover, somebody that can do a lot of different things, and that's why he's at number 4 on my list. Let's go to number 3 here. It's going to be cornerback Benjamin Morrison. And this is somebody that I know for a fact the Las Vegas Raiders like a lot. He's got a C on his chest. That's important. We also know coaching connections. I know that the Raiders running back coach was at Notre Dame last season, and I know that he's not a running back. But when you see players up close and personal, especially for 3 years, that has a lot of value to this organization. He had a top 30 visit, and he also met with them at the Combine. So you know for a fact that the Raiders are doing a lot of their research on him, and I think that they're doing a lot of research on him because of the injury that he sustained this past season with that hip injury. I love his ability, though, to make plays on the ball. 9 interceptions in 31 games played. Plays bigger than his size, competitive, tough cornerback. One of the comps that I've been seen thrown out there a lot on Morrison is Marlon Humphrey, and I love the style of player that Marlon Humphrey had for quite some time. And again, he's not going to be somebody that wows you in a lot of different ways, but he's just a really freaking good all-around corner. I would put him, and I've said this comparison before about Marlon Humphrey, he's kind of like Mario in a video game where you're like, you know what, he's really good at a lot of different things, but I don't know if he's great at anything. Benjamin Morrison, if he's 100% healthy and he shows that hip is much better, he's somebody that I would love for the Raiders to take at 37, and obviously is on the Raiders' radar as well. If you want to check out the top players that I want the silver and black to target in round 1 at pick number 6, this video is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And if you like this video, if you want me to continue to do styles of, because I feel like oftentimes there's so much concentration in round 1. I get it. And I do this show every day. I've been doing it for 7+ years now. If you also want me to break down prospects, like you like that I'm breaking down guys at 37, round 2. If you want me to break down prospects in round 3, I'll make you guys a deal. This is how I do this show. If this video that I'm recording right now gets 1,000 likes, I'm going to do my top 10 prospects that I want the Raiders to target in round 3. And if that video gets 1,000 likes, we'll go to round 4. We'll go to round 5. We'll go to round 6. We'll go to round 7. I love being able to do this type of stuff. And hopefully, like when I first started the show, when we all first started the show, it was, what is the content that the nation wants? If you click the like button, that tells me that you want more content like we're dropping here. Let's go to number 2. And this one, I think he just continues to be somebody that I love. And he was actually a player that I watched a lot more tape on this past weekend. And Trevion Henderson, I am more than okay with taking him at number 37. He's not going to be there for you at number 68, and that's just the way that it is. But when I went back and I first watched Trevion Henderson tape, I was like, I love this kid's home run ability. Watched a little bit more games and some games that I thought he struggled, and I was a little bit concerned about his overall vision. He's got a great relationship with Chip Kelly. I also think that, his skill set with Raheem Mostert would be fun, but Henderson being able to, spread you out, he can get it done. The reason why I think I could make an argument of why I would rather the Raiders draft Trevion Henderson at 37 instead of Ashton Genty at 6 is because of what Henderson provides in the passing game. He is a great receiving back. He catches a football like a wide receiver, and if you want a running back that can be used that way, that's going to be really important. He also might be one of the best pass protectors, pass blockers at the running back position in this year's draft. The only other back that I saw that I thought competed with him was Taj Brooks, who from Texas Tech, who you're going to be able to get who you'd be able to get on day 3. His inside runs, he does lack some vision. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. But when he's got home run speed, the Raiders met with him at the Combine with that connection to Chip Kelly. But the number one reason, pass protection, and he is a great, and I mean it, great receiving back. I know Quinshon Judkins had more carries than Henderson did in college, but I would almost look at it as Henderson is the better overall prospect than Judkins. Judkins might be safer. Henderson is legit, dude. And I think when you think about the players that we have, the talent that we have, and again, when Geno Smith is protected, he's so much better. Trevion Henderson is the number 2 player that I would want the Raiders to take at 37. But that means coming in here at number 1, the player that I believe makes the most sense for the Raiders at the time that I'm recording this video, which is March 25th. His name, safety Xavier Watts. And I've been saying for a while, the Raiders need a free safety. Quite frankly, this is the biggest weakness that the Silver and Black have right now in their secondary. And what's funny is, shout out to the great Brandon Jasper, RIPs down below. Brandon actually was talking about Xavier Watts to me last year. As you guys can see, he's Omaha. Brandon was from Omaha. So being able to watch Watts closely was something that I really enjoyed. 83 tackles, 6 INTs, 9 PBUs. The Raiders met with Watts at the Combine, and because of how big of a need free safety is, I think finding your true starter at free safety is extremely, extremely important. He's also Notre Dame's first 2-time consensus All-American since 1993. He's a team captain. He's a true center fielder with great instincts. I mean, you're talking about 13 interceptions over the past 2 seasons for the Fighting Irish. He's also got the coaching connections to the Raiders' new running back coach who was at Notre Dame. I'm actually surprised in myself for putting a safety this high in my rankings. But if you were to tell me out of all those players that I just mentioned, who do I think legitimately would make the biggest impact to our team right away based on skill set, based on what we need, based on talent, I'm going to go with Xavier Watts from Notre Dame as the number 1 player right now I would want the Raiders to take at number 37. Dude's a true ball hawk. So let's go through these names one more time here. At number 10, I got Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. 9, Siobhan Revel Jr., cornerback from ECU. Quinshon Judkins, running back from Ohio State. Trey Amos, corner from Mississippi. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from Iowa State. At number 5, Maxwell Harrison, DB from Kentucky. Carson Swessinger, linebacker from UCLA. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame. Trevion Henderson, running back from Ohio State. And at number 1, free safety Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Reminder one more time, my social media, I am at Mitchell Renz 365, Instagram, Twitter, and if you want me to make a round 3 draft targets video, make sure you click that like button. And if there's any names that I forgot or any names that you think I missed, don't be afraid to throw them down below. And you just got to remember how I started the show. They had to be available to me in mock drafts at least 50% of the time. If they weren't, they did not crack the list. And there was a lot of players that I know I'm going to get some questions about that unfortunately just didn't quite fit the criteria to make this video. Which I feel like I had to do certain criteria, Chugs, just because I could have done that 25, 30 players the Raiders could have taken at 37. You know what I mean? So I think I had to do the criteria.
I'm surprised Shedeur didn't make the list.
I think there's a lot of people that are probably surprised that I didn't put a single quarterback on that list. Like, I'm telling you, I could have put Jackson Dart in this video. I technically could have put Shedeur in. Technically. He was available to me at least 50% of the time in the mock drafts that I did. But I'm being transparent. Like, I don't want the Raiders to draft Jackson Dart at 37. I don't think they're going to do it. But even if he was available at 37, I would not be interested in it. I'm telling y'all right now. I don't see it. I don't see it with Dart. So how many mock drafts have y'all done so far this year? Jesus.
I think I've done at least 30.
Yeah. I'm probably up in the 50, 60 range. And that's only because once in a while for like community posts, I'll do a mock draft and I'll be like, grade this random mock draft that I've done. Like, I bet you I'm probably 50, 60 mock drafts deep. And when I say that, I'm talking start to finish. Round 1 to round 7. PFF, PFN.
Carlos said 25. Rebel said 0. That's not true, Rebel. We did a live mock, and you were here. You've done at least one. Mm-hmm. And I saw you vote.
Sounds like Rebel's lying. Why you always lying?
How many mocks have you done?
Why you always lying? James Bailey.
Way too many.
Can we get some, show some love to James Bailey down below? Funny, I don't know if you all know this, the creator of the Just Win Baby. So the logo that we use, the Just Win Baby, was handmade, hand-drawn, handcrafted by a Raiders Report watcher, and he is in the chat right now.
Well, it was a baby. So
James.
It was a baby, so it was conceived.
Correct.
Conceived by James Bailey.
It was conceived by his right or left hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure, but shout out to James frickin' Bailey, man.
I heard if you sit on your hand, it feels like someone else is making the Just Win Baby.
I was worried where we were going with that. Oh, man. That's wild. I kind of have to pee, I'm not going to lie. So here's what we're going to do. Let's get through these March Madness duck races. We got to get through the entire Brockton region, and I'm still waiting on LA Crash Dog. Still waiting on LA Crash Dog. So that means this. The next race that we are going to get into, Lord Cameron Abbott against Bridget Rivera. We have 9 races to go. Mm-hmm. 9 races to go. Mitch, your QB pick in the last couple drafts have been subpar, bro. I don't think that. Do you? I mean, I wanted Jaden Daniels last year. I think he was pretty good.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. LCA, the 1 seed. Bridget is here. Luis, no 50-50 today. I'll do one on Thursday, though, bro. Brady Cook. Yikes. He's a gunslinger. I'll give him that. But
more like Brady cooked.
I don't think he's very good. LCA! Bang today to bring himself some good luck. I don't know if it's going to happen. He's been losing, though. So I'm telling you right now, it's whoever hits the NOS first. Uh-oh. Is it going to be LCA? I don't know if he hit. I think he hit it too early. Nope. Just enough time. Lord Cameron Abbott. When you put good energy out into the world, good shit happens. Can I get some LCAs down below? Can I get some LCAs down below? Raider Rob, we had Quinn Ewers for a visit. Yes, top 30 visit. And they met with him at the Combine.
All right, Joe Mauld up next.
Joe Maldonado going up against, which let me open up the bracket on my end.
Joe Mauld against Adrian Leone.
Joe Mauld up against Adrian Leone. A little 8-9 action.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go. Who you got? Type A for Adrian. J for Joe. Joe Mao.
So Chris Olave tweeted
a
couple, or like 20 minutes ago, just a bunch of laughing emojis.
Why is that?
I think because he's gotten tagged so much in my tweet and like sent my tweet a ton.
Oh, really? Why? How big is it now?
It's like at like 200-something thousand views.
Shit. All right. Adrian! There's still plenty of time for Joe Mao. Is Joe Mao going to have enough?
Adrian!
He's not. Adrian with the win. Horror Fanatic Lance. I love Brady Cook. Sanjeet does as well.
All right, next up.
I will say Sanjeet and I have a different opinion sometimes on QBs, but I love Sanjeet. That's one of my guys. Lord Cameron Abbott. Bang! Come on, man. Lord Cameron Abbott. Throwing one down today. Come on, dude. Fired up for a win.
It's fun to stay at the
LCA. Come on, dude. Electric Factory. Lord Cameron Abbott.
Let's see what he has
Jody
to say.
said, you're cooking, bro. Bring the energy. Bang now for Nabman. Win that race. Dude, I'm hoping, man. I really am. I am really, really hoping.
Navman just said worried.
I'll say, if anything, LCA is just putting more pressure now on Navman to get a dub. Marcus and up against Scott Eckert.
Here we go.
Oh, dude. I believe Scott is the higher seed in this race. Scott's the 5 seed. Marcus and is the 12 seed. And Mr. Eckert right now has got a lead. Though you guys don't know Scott Eckert's YouTube name. Mitch, question. If Notre Dame cornerback Watts versus Hampton, running back North Carolina, who do you take in round 2? If it's between Xavier Watts or Amari and Hampton, I would go Hampton. Marcus and ends up getting the win as the 12 seed. Omari and Hampton, though, was actually not available to me in any of the mock drafts that I did. So all 10 of the sims that I ran on PFF and PFN, so like technically it's 5 and 5 is how I did it. He wasn't available in any of them. But I do think Omari and Hampton is he's one of those running backs because he can pass protect, because he can do a lot of different things. He's special. Though there is a part of me that wonders, would Trevion Henderson be better? Like, if you're telling me right now the Raiders want a running back that they believe could be a 3-down back that just offers you a lot of different things. I'm trying to think of an NFL comp to him. Like, I do think Omari and Hampton's like a Joe Mixon where he can do a lot of different things. Henderson, to me, who's a great pass-catching back that also was really solid in pass protection. Like, I can't really think of one off the top of my head right now. I don't want to say Christian McCaffrey because that's not really it. Not really even like a Matt Forte. Imagine Jamal Charles, maybe. Jamal Charles, Brian Westbrook, a little bit in him. Anthony Green against Richard Magbowl. Come on, Green. Come on, Anthony Green.
Young Psycho, what do you think about USC center Jonah Monheim? How high is he on your board? He used to play right tackle and right guard. We definitely need O-line help. I mean, he's a guy who you can get like round 4 and on, I think.
Yeah, round 4 and on. I actually think I've had him in a mock draft before. Here's the thing, though. I actually think the Raiders are a lot more confident in their offensive line.
Come on, Anthony.
I think if the Raiders end up taking anybody on the line, I actually think it's a tackle. I don't think they take anybody in the interior.
Come on, Anthony.
They had Alex Kappa already. Dude, he's got to turn it on. I don't think he's going to do it. Where's he going? Anthony Green! Oh, man! A half-court heave! Bang! What a race, dude.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
The number 4 seed moves on.
But because the Raiders re-signed Jordan Meredith, because they have Dylan Parham, and because they have Alex Kappa on top of center, you got JPJ.
I don't know if you did this on purpose. Next up is Raider Sancho versus Raymond Sancho.
Who? Raven?
Raymond.
Oh. No, I did not. We got Raider Sancho against it's Raymond Sanchez.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't think I have two Sanchos.
Oh, okay, yeah. Never mind. I read it wrong. I was like, we got two Sanchos?
Tomato, Sancho, Sanchez,
I didn't say that.
I know. Probably bad that I did. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going.
Let's go.
But I actually think the Raiders like their interior line a lot more, where I really do truly believe if they draft an offensive lineman on the interior, maybe it's a little bit later, or if somebody falls a little bit like a Tyler Booker. But offensive tackle, I think, is where they look. Sancho against Sanchez. 13 seconds to go. I was actually talking to Sancho probably over the weekend. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Hopefully you and Michaela are doing well. Sancho! Good boy.
Good boy.
Good boy. No, Sancho is actually one of the only people that have met Chuck in person. And he was a psychopath at our lunch that day. Sacktown Raider Mike. Hey, bro. That man has been speaking nothing but kind words from you. Hopefully everything's going well with you over there, Sacktown Raider Mike. I've been told you are a hero. And based off the conversations I've had with Nav, I agree with that, man. Rollin Raspberry is the Raspberry here. Up against Amanda Frazier. 3 seed, I believe, against a 14.
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Run it. So Amanda Frazier's out to an early lead. The next race that we are going to do is going to be Mo Chavez against Eric Mitchell, followed by Nav against Azar, followed by Crash Dog.
Yeah, if Crash Dog's not here by the end, we'll just have to run.
I was going to say, yeah. Or do we save Nav Man for the very end? And we do Crash Dog first and then Nav. I don't know. No, we'll do Nav. Amanda! All right, this is actually a very similar race that we just saw from Anthony Green. Wonder if Raspberry's trying to steal a little bit of that strategy. Back to back. Is Frazier going to have enough? Raspberry comes from behind. Come on, dude. Big time win there by Ronald Raspberry, one of the moderators that we have. Sacktown Raider Mike, good luck to you, my man. Good luck to you, bro.
All right, here we go.
3 round 1 races remaining. Next one coming up.
Mo
Chavez up against Eric Mitchell. These are 2 OGs. So Eric, you guys might know him as he's got Corn the Long Way t-shirt on in his picture. And then Mo Chav is in tons and tons and tons of duck races. 7 against 10 seed. Here we go. What's good about this matchup is not that I don't root for everybody in every race. That's probably not the right thing to say. There's just obviously certain names that I recognize a little bit sooner. This to me is a very fair one. Eric M has been a long-time watcher. Mo Chav is also a frequent duck racer. So, both of them, good luck to you. Do we have Eric M or Mo Chavez here in the building? Because this looks like a 10 against 7 race.
This is close.
I mean, Mo's got a little bit of a lead, but Eric M, he can smell the corn the long way. Eric M with the win. Come on, man. Rafael Murillo. What do we got for me, Raf?
So are we doing Crash Dog or are we doing...
What do you guys think? Do we do LA or do we do 93? What race do you guys want to do first? LA or 93?
We go LA.
You want to do LA? All right, yeah, I think we gave LA plenty of time. I agree. Let's do it. Sanjeet? I actually didn't know Sanjeet.
Oh, he's here!
Let's go, Gunny! This is actually hilarious. So, Crash Dog, we were going to do your race probably about an hour or so ago. Navman sent in a super and said, don't do it yet. Let's wait on him. And then I said, you're right. He's going to show up an hour from now and say, what's up, fam? What did I miss? Pretty damn close. Here we go. Crash Dog, Keelan O'Leary. Who's going to get the dub? Crash Dog right now is out to a early lead. Zach Ruiz said insane timing. I almost wonder if Gunny was just sitting back this entire time waiting and waiting. Though, I'm going to be real with you, Crash. I don't like where you're at right now. The way that these races have gone today, I think Keelan O'Leary is about to hit on the NOS, and that might put you in a bad spot there, Gunny. Think it's going to put you in a bad spot, Gunny. And Keelan O'Leary with the upset. Bump, 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 bump. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Damn.
This is March.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Congrats, though, to Keelan O'Leary with the dub. Survive in advance. Survive in advance.
So
I mean,
you know what that means.
Here we go. 93 Navman up against
Azar Shah.
Azar Shah. The final. Sorry, Gunny. The final race of the first round. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Azar Shah out to an early lead on Navman. No, I mean, when it's this close, you don't know how it's going to go.
It's anybody's race.
Sorry, Crash. I know. I feel kind of bad. Gunny said, I'm old. I just didn't have the juice that I once had. You know, your wife says the same thing. It's kind of crazy. Oh, dude, here we go. 12 seconds to go. Come on, Nav. This is going to be really close. At this point, whoever makes the first jump, somebody's got to make a move. Somebody's got to make a move! Navman! LA, not enough, but LCA. Put in some good vibes, dude. A lot of good vibes for 93 Navman. Raider Ron said good luck as Navman was winning.
Let's go.
That's like the Raiders take a knee to win the Super Bowl, and Ron goes, God, I hope the Raiders win this game. Nav! Hey, real quick, LCA, when you put good energy out in the world, good shit happens, and I don't care what anybody says. That shit was legendary, man.
Raiders just won the Super Bowl.
Raiders just won the Super Bowl from Zach. Oh, man. Congratulations, 93 Navman. So here's what we're going to do. I want to run through the regions real quick. Oh! Lord Cameron Bang! So, in the Las Vegas region, we got Brent Wilson going to be going up against Steven Corbell. That's going to be on Thursday. Philip Bogert up against Nathan Wolf. Also, Thursday, Roger Braun's going to be taking on Richard Kelly. And then Patrick Roche up against Francisco Ramirez. That's going to be the round of 32 in the Los Angeles region. Patrick B up against Jason Garcia, who's going to take on Chris Aguilar up against Ivan Perez. Then, a lot of upsets down there on the bottom. Finesse Lounge up against Keelan O'Leary. Misty Williamson taking on Ryan Campbell. Then, the Oakland region. The number 1 seed, Raider Ron, up against Johnny B. Good. Rustin Long, Blaine Craig, very sneaky 4-5 matchup. David Vergara taking on Rupert Daniel. David Rubio up against Justin Salazar. And then, in the Brockton region, we got LCA up against Adrian Leone. Then Marcus Ann up against Anthony Green. Going to be a fun one right there. Raider Sancho, Ron Raspberry, a great 6-3 matchup. And then I love that 2-10 matchup between Eric Mitchell and 93 Nabman. All of those races are going to be done this Thursday. This Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be going live the final hour. We're also going to do a little bit of Raiders happy hour style. Tune in. Make sure you're subscribed. It's going to be fun. What do you got for me? Yep. So, trade value chart. It's valued as second rounder this year. So, if it's third round the following year, it's like second round. Or no, second round that year is like third round this year. Probably. The way that teams usually do it is if you offer a 2025, like a 2025 third is equivalent to a 2026 second. Yep. Yep. Probably. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Dude.
Oh God,
Marsh. Yeah. Marsh, what do we think about this trade idea?
It might be a little bit for you, but if that's the guy that you want.
Locho, what up?
Be kind of interesting.
Marsh, we liking this trade?
Be kind of interesting. All right, y'all. Chugs and I are getting ready to hop on out of here. Shout out to Lord Cameron Abbott. Dude was an absolute freaking legend today.
Yes.
Marsh, are you live later on today? Yes, Marsh is going to be live later on today for Knicks.
Olave tweeted about me, Marsh.
Nah, man! How about this?
Laughing emojis.
Here is your alley-oop. Tell us what you're going to do with it. Make Mitch show how it's done, everyone. Thanks for the support. I hope the judges do not drug test my dog. I'm just saying, Raider Mike, I got you, bro. Now, man, you're an absolute legend, dude. Lord Cameron Abbott is also an absolute legend today. I appreciate everyone that tuned in to today's show. I mean it, man. Like, today's show was a lot of fun. I appreciate everyone. All right. Hang on a second. I don't know if I can reach. Nah, man! Throws one up to Lord Cameron Abbott. Lord Cameron Abbott. Come on, dude. It's fun to stay at the LCA. All right, Cameron. Because you hit the gong on Tuesday, I'm going to give you guys a boot to start Thursday. We're going to get a little Thursday happy hour action go this Thursday. Make sure you're subscribed. Our Thursday show, I think, is going to be nuts, dude. It's going to be nuts. Subscribe, pull up. If any other breaking news happens, I promise you, we're going to be there. Nab said you better. Oh, we're going to get a boot right off the start of the show. And I'm going to give you guys a boot deal that some might say is equivalent to a boot deal that y'all had on Knicks at some point. If you're down to get a little bit crazy on Thursday, you make sure you pull up. Crash Dog, sorry, bro. Nat Man, congrats. LCA, congrats. To everybody there in advance, congrats to you. And appreciate everyone for tuning in to today's show.